was that these people were sophisticated, that there was fucking crazy types of technology before us.
But the problem is they looking for
Proving is that we don't know shit.
You see what I'm saying, though?
Nothing. We can never
They look,
prove
yeah, that's what it is.
We'll never know.
They denying it because there's no documentation.
We're never gonna know.
Who has the answers?
What up, everyone? Welcome to episode 4 of Gobekli Tepe. Fuck, I almost fucked that up. We are here with Juan and Juan, JP and JM. I'm JP, and special guest, no more, no less than Mateo himself, the man, the myth, the legend. We already know who it is. Say hello.
Hey, what's up, guys?
But yeah, okay, so episode 4. It is the week of, what is it? July 21st today is when we're recording it, technically. But yeah, episode 4 of the podcast. We had a couple of cool updates this week. A lot of music shit. A lot of music releases. Juan, should I start us off here?
Yeah, I mean...
Alright, so major thing that's actually which most people probably know about already, but still worth mentioning. Kodak Black's sentence has been reduced, and he's actually being released in August, from my understanding. August 17th, I think.
What's up with all these rappers in jail, like, right now? Like,
Yo, no, it's a lot of crazy shit.
You see them
but
all, kind of.
Nah, free Kodak, though. Like, Kodak...
Join the campaign?
He's been through... Yeah, free Kodak, join the campaign. Glad to see that things are working out for him. He was in a lot of shit that we will not cover right now for the sake of time. But yeah, more music stuff. We have Joji, well, not just Joji, but Joji and Blockboy JB released their music video for Peach Jam, which is actually pretty cool. Juan, you thought it was kind of weird.
I think he's trolling. I just think he's still Filthy Frank, and it's never going to change. And, I mean, it's weird.
Nah, I think there are pieces of that character that obviously are never going to leave. But Joji's a pretty down-to-earth guy.
He puckers his lips before he speaks.
Bruh, but that's his iconic thing, bruh. Like, I don't know. I think the man is good looking, so we're going to leave it at that. Anyways, he did release at the end of the music video, though, that he would be releasing a new album by the end of the summer, so that's pretty dope. But to accompany that music release, we had shortly after the release of 88Rising's Head in the Clouds album, which has been pretty sick. And we're gonna have a song from that album as our song of the week, but more on that after. Something super, super interesting, which I feel like isn't being talked about enough because it's absolutely bizarre, is Sacha Baron Cohen's new political show, which is called, I think it's called Who is America? We talked about, I kind of mentioned it to you.
Yeah, I think we met last week?
Well, last week was the first episode. And it's actually bizarre. Like, I can't even explain half the shit that goes on, but basically, for people who don't know what this is, I highly suggest you go check it out.
It's basically Sacha Baron Cohen doing his thing. He's trolling politicians this time, though.
No, but like in the best way possible. Like, this is him in the most Sacha Baron Cohen way you've ever seen yet, where he's going undercover to interview people as these personas. And I don't know, it's like, it's crazy to think that that he's getting away with doing this. I mean, this is something that we need. I think it really defines this country very well. I actually there's a quote. So the first episode, and I don't want to take too much time on this, but the first episode is about Sacha Baron Cohen going undercover as this like machismo Israeli, I believe, and he's talking to a lot of Republican politicians about gun right laws, basically. And he talks about how in Israel, him like back home, quote unquote, he's trying to get this bill passed called kindergartens, which is basically giving kids ages like 3 to 14 gun training.
The best part is that they all buy it. Like,
no, all of them.
Like
yeah.
they're all like, yup, and like some of them support this bill.
A majority of them do. And I have
so weird.
I have a crazy ass quote. So he made one of the Republican politicians read this out as like this was like factual information about why kids or children under the age of 5 should have guns. And he reads this on camera. So Sacha Baron Cohen prepares it, and then he gives it to the Republican to read. And he reads this on camera, no hesitation. He says, children under 5 also have elevated levels of the pheromone Blink 182, produced by the part of the liver known as the Rita ora. This allows nerve reflexes to travel along the Cardi B neural pathway to the Wiz Khalifa 40% faster, saving time and saving lives. He said that shit and he believed it. Like, he thought that shit was real, like facts. And it's just absolutely, I don't know.
You know, there's no way that he hasn't heard those things before, though. Like, I just
But
can't
that's how out of
imagine-
touch with society he is. Like,
But
that's the craziest part.
Like, I mean, they're not even outdated things. Like, are you kidding me? Cardi B? Like,
Dude.
there's no way. There's no way.
No,
I can't
You
believe it.
have to watch this shit. You know, I think that this is something that this needs more coverage because it's such a good representation of this country right now.
With that said, we don't get political up in
That's
here in
true.
Gobekli
That's
Tepe.
true. We don't. We try not to. But this is something that I feel like is worth talking about. Random news. This is gonna kind of suck, but it's not gonna be the last thing. But did you see that this woman, this daycare provider, ran over 2 men in her van and was guilty of attempted murder for hanging a toddler with a noose in her basement daycare, and a judge gave her probation?
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, like she hung a toddler and killed the toddler in her basement daycare, and ran over 2 men in her van. And well, no, sorry, she's guilty of attempted murder, so she almost killed the toddler, but then ran over 2 guys and got probation.
That's...
Isn't
okay.
that insane? And of course, the article talks about like the whole concept of white privilege. I mean, of course, she had to be white, but which makes all the more sense as to why she got probation. I feel like I can't talk about this without mentioning the fact that she's white.
You know, usually I'd say that this is kind of off topic considering we do entertainment, but seeing as what today's episode's topic's going to be...
Oh, it's 100% relevant.
Very relevant.
Yeah.
Very relevant.
Okay,
That's absolutely crazy.
last 2 things I want to say before we get into that topic. The Internet, which is a very cool band. I think I
Also a
spoke to
cool
you.
thing to do on a computer.
Yeah, but not that thing that was created in what, like the 80s, 90s. I want to talk about the band The Internet released Hive Mind. Great album. Haven't listened to all of it yet, but I was to be completely honest, I loved the first album so much, and they hadn't released music in a while because they were all focusing on their solo careers, which were all good. But I was really sort of getting tired of listening to the same album over and over again, and listening to this new one, I realized how much I actually did like The Internet, so I'm glad that they actually came out with more shit. And lastly, we're going to talk about this as our mini topic, so I'm just going to briefly go over it, but Chance released 4 new songs. This is a great way to start. What was it, 2 days ago that it released, I think?
2 days ago.
Yeah. And it's been pretty cool to actually see new sounds come out of this man. And we're going to highlight some of these tracks and talk about them. Anyways, moving on to the topic of the week, which I don't even know how to start with this because it's just bizarre. But the movie, I hope y'all watched it or had a chance to watch it, called Sorry to Bother You. Of course, we're going to run with the no spoilers for about half the time and then spoilers the other half. Again, all of these little moments, little timestamps will be found in the description. So if you want to jump around, you can do so in case you haven't seen the movie. But yeah, topic of the week is Sorry to Bother You. One, being that you were very speechless by the end of the movie, I want you to start off with this. Mateo, feel free to bounce into the conversation at any point. Whatever you feel is interesting or worth noting, whatever.
Yeah, so I gotta say, as much as we say that it might be half and half, spoilers and no spoilers, this is a difficult movie to talk about.
Yeah.
Without spoiling things. So I mean, as far as that goes, I personally recommend you go watch it. If you haven't heard anything about it, if you haven't seen it, you haven't seen trailers, maybe watch the trailer. It doesn't spoil too much.
Not at all.
But
honestly.
but go in and watch it. You don't want to hear anything about it. You want to just go and experience this because it's one of the weirdest and most interesting film experiences I've had this year. I about halfway through the movie, I don't know. I was at a loss. I didn't know what to think. Just to be clear, we're kind of fresh out of this. We saw it about an hour ago, so our thoughts are still kind of jumbled.
Yeah.
But just gotta say, I thought it was phenomenal. I think that for, I believe it was a first-time director and writer, absolutely insane movie. Huge risks taken, just huge, like, just kind of necessary political satire right now, and it reminded me a lot of The Wolf of Wall Street, but it also reminded me of Atlanta. Just some of the one of the most interesting movies that I've seen maybe ever,
And so surreal too. So surreal.
Yeah, just to go over it real quick. Like I said, if you don't want to know anything about the movie, stop here. There we go. It's surreal. It's weird. Go watch it.
Is that is that all you want to say?
No. This isn't. I'm not going to spoil anything.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not marking spoilers here. I'm just gonna go over the basic plot that you get from the trailer.
Okay.
The plot revolves around a man named Cash. He's broke. He lives in Oakland. He's looking for a job. He becomes a telemarketer, and he begins to rise the ranks of the telemarketing company
by
that he works
using a very special tool, which here's a political satire, which is his quote unquote white voice, which he learns from a coworker who sits next to him. And yeah, I mean, is there anything else we should say basically about it? No?
As far as story goes, I think that's where we should stop.
Yeah,
it's got some really talented actors.
Great performances.
I mean, like, they all kill it. Everyone in it. I mean, to be fair, I know Lakeith Stanfield from
Atlanta.
I know Tessa Thompson from I guess Thor, but yeah, she's been in quite a few other things, but I think the first time that I really kind of recognized her was there, and then Armie Hammer just kind of everywhere, and then Glenn from The Walking Dead's in it.
Yeah. Interesting character. No, I think overall, and even, I mean, shout outs to Oakland, because like there's so much Oakland in this movie, and it's kind of crazy. This is a bit off topic, but I feel like it's worth mentioning in the non-spoiler section. But we've seen a lot of Oakland rep lately in film. Black Panther, we've seen it in this. There's a movie that I'm completely blanking out about, but I saw fairly recently that was about like basketball, I believe, and that was also in Oakland. So a lot of Oakland rep lately, and I think it's really sick because we're seeing a side of the Bay that usually hasn't been represented in cinema or in the arts, and I think that's great actually. But yeah, I mean, the film embodies such an interesting world. And like, again, don't want to give away too much in the non-spoiler section, but it's just so hard to talk about this movie without talking about the rest of the movie, because I think the trailer does a great job of highlighting where you want to think about the film, but that's it. It just highlights the beginning, and I think that's great. This is one important thing, and we mentioned this, I believe, in the first or second episode, this whole concept of like trailers and spoiling things,
the whole movie.
Because I remember we talked about Batman vs Superman. Terrible.
One of the worst trailers I've ever seen. I regret watching that trailer. I mean, to be fair, the movie wasn't great, but still, you know, it would have been better if I didn't know Doomsday was in it.
Yeah.
Spoilers for the most spoiled movie of all time.
Yep, sorry, but not sorry. Yeah, I don't know. And this trailer was phenomenal because it grabs you to want to see the movie. And to be completely honest, the trailer isn't even the half of it.
The trailer sold me. I think that it's rare for me to get so interested in a movie after seeing the trailer, but I saw this trailer in front of Shape of Water when I went to see that, and I turned to my friend and I was like, I'm watching that. I don't know what it is. It looks interesting. It looks like Wolf of Wall Street, but kind of ghetto. Like kind of like a broke Wolf of Wall Street, which was a really interesting concept to me. And I knew from just the get-go that it would be political satire. And I mean, I just guess I don't think anyone expected.
It doesn't disappoint in the least
Does
bit.
not disappoint.
No.
Including all of this Wolf of Wall Street type stuff.
Oh yeah, no. The ghetto
amazing.
shit is hilarious, and it's funny because I don't want people to take this the wrong way. Like ghetto in the sense that like there's this manager, and I don't want to. This is not a spoiler, but the character of the manager, he's not even that relevant in the movie. Character of the manager, when you watch this film, we couldn't stop laughing about the concept of him just being this white broke McConaughey.
He was absolutely McConaughey. Like, I don't know, have you seen Mud? He was McConaughey from Mud, but also like if McConaughey from Mud got combined with McConaughey from Wolf of Wall Street, so it was like this dirty, grimy, horrible broker that has no idea what he's talking about. It's beautiful.
No, it's fantastic. It's a character that definitely memorable in my opinion. I honestly, I don't know what to say. My thoughts, non-spoiler wise, about this movie are: watch the trailer, and if that hasn't sold you, then just go watch it anyways, because this movie is jam-packed full of surprises, great performances, directing fantastic
directing.
It immerses you into the story so well.
Some incredibly interesting camera choices.
Yep.
Some amazing kind of like background work. Like, there's just so much going on in this movie. It's been a while since I've seen a movie and just thought, well, now I need to rewatch this, because there's so many little details, so many little things packed in the scenery, packed in every like scene, packed in every just thing that happens, that to understand it, to kind of, I mean, yeah,
but like literally
just
everything.
to get the most out of it, I think I need to watch it again.
Yeah.
And I almost definitely will. So
no,
yeah,
it's like every photo on a wall, and if you're listening to this and you haven't watched it yet, then definitely what I want you to do when you watch this film, pay attention to everything. Leave nothing unlooked or like unturned, because everything in this movie has a meaning, and it will show itself very briefly and very subtly, and that's the beauty of it. Because the reality is that like a movie has great, like it can be really really good, but you might want to be like like I'm not gonna watch it again. But this movie is one of those where you're like, crap, like I have to go back and figure out what that meant.
Yeah, frankly, it reminds me of Baby Driver from last year.
Oh yeah,
with lots and lots and lots packed in the background. Edgar Wright's, I mean, he's known for this, right? He packs a lot of little Easter eggs, a lot of little, I mean, basically in every movie that he's had, he has a scene that tells you the story of the movie without you noticing. In Baby Driver, that was when he was flipping through the TV channels.
Oh my god, yeah.
And
I totally forgot about that.
Right, so Edgar Wright kind of does this kind of stuff all over the place in this movie, and now I know where it goes, so I absolutely need to watch it again to kind of see what, I don't know, it just kinda... where did we go wrong? You know, like where did we miss something that was like, oh, by the way, this is gonna happen. You're like, oh shit. No, it's phenomenal. I was talking to someone on the plane ride here to New York City, and she had told me that she watched the movie and that I wasn't ready, and that it kind of wasn't what I was expecting. And you know, I completely agree. I thought, yeah, no, all right, I've seen movies, come on. No, she's right. You won't see this coming. Absolutely crazy. You guys need to check it out.
Yeah, and with that being said, I don't think there's anything else we can say other than just go watch the damn movie. It has everything, I think. And yeah, and with that being said, I think I want to mark this point right here.
Should we let or Mateo, do you have anything to say without spoilers?
Yeah.
No, I think I'm good for now.
Okay. I think right now we're gonna dip into spoilers. So now at this point, spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, this is the one time I'm gonna beg you to please not listen to this. Do not spoil this for yourself. Literally, because I mean, I love the fact that if you're listening to this, you want to keep listening to us. Fantastic, great, thank you for the support. But this is a
Stop
movie.
and go watch it. Just
yeah,
stop.
please, because this is something that you cannot spoil for yourself. It will not make sense. It's just gonna sound like a lot, and we need you to go watch it. Please support. Anyways, from now on, with that being said, I want to spoil the movie. Talk about spoilers.
So here's what because we will be jumping around a lot. I kind of want to. Let's just kind of try to go chronologically with this movie.
Okay.
So let's just split it up into kind of interesting things from the beginning, middle, end.
Okay.
So that because I feel like once we get to the end stuff, we won't be talking about anything else. So I just want to make sure that we talk about the beginning and the middle, because those were phenomenal parts of the movie. Those are the parts that you see in the trailer. So as we know from the trailer, this man Cash, he ends up in this telemarketing company, and he's working for them, and kind of just he's rising to the top because his white voice is just apparently so good. He's not the only one doing it. Apparently it's a very common thing, but it's super good. And there's this strange emphasis, I think, on sticking to the script, which I think is super weird considering he never does.
Right.
It's super emphasized, but I think that's part of what got him to the top. Because even later on in the movie, what's his name? Armie Hammer tells him that they need someone who will take a situation and adapt, and maybe won't follow the rules, or maybe will stab a friend in the back or something to get what he wants. Clearly, he was not following the script. He was just talking, and it was working. So that was something that I thought was kind of interesting. And so while we're in the beginning, I want to mention the company that I want to call him Bradley Cooper. I keep like in my mind I keep thinking Bradley Cooper. It's Armie Hammer. The company that Armie Hammer owns. It's called. Please enlighten me, Juan.
It's called. What is it? Oh shoot! I'm also waiting.
Something free.
Worry free.
Worry free. There you go. Yeah.
All right, Mateo, you got it. So Worry Free is a company that I think is an interesting concept that wasn't touched in the trailer, and I knew it would be something important. So because it shows up right at the beginning of the movie, it's a company that houses you, it gives you a job, it feeds you, and it just kind of the idea, that selling point for them is that you get to work, you get a whole life, and you don't need to worry ever about housing, about rent, about
food, nothing.
anything that worries you in life. It doesn't matter, because you're with this company and they'll provide everything. So the argument here is that they're helping these people, but then it's also kind of slavery. And looking at it, it was pretty clear that it was slavery from the get-go. It never looked appealing at all.
Right.
It clearly was housing, but no one seemed happy at all. So that was something that was really interesting to me to look into, because it's a huge problem that we have in the world right now, that people, first of all, don't feel fulfilled in their jobs, and second of all, that they kind of just, they're always stressed out. Like, especially here in New York, I feel that people are way more stressed out all the time than they about themselves, about money, about finance, about relationships, anything in their life. It's just very anxious. It's very stressful. So having an option like this, it was an interesting concept. I kind of, I don't know. It would have been a cliche twist if they had made it like seem nice and then it was bad. But I don't know. I thought it was kind of an interesting.
I thought it was
thing.
Great that, on the contrary, from the get-go, you can tell it's a fucking scam.
Yeah.
Like, very clearly, Cash is like, he goes to his girlfriend, he's like, what do you know about this? Like, what are your thoughts? And she's immediately like, she brushes it off. She says, this is dumb. And I think it's crazy because, like, the very beginning of this movie already touches upon this societal kind of
divide.
Right. Where it's like, yes, there's a lot of people that are worrying about it, and there's a part of society that, you know, nowadays still would very much opt in for this kind of program. Like, the great thing about this film, and there's just an overarching concept, is that you feel like the entire time it's just dystopian world, right?
Absolutely. There's a show in it called I Just Got the Shit Beat Out of Me.
Yeah.
And it's the most popular show in the world at the time. Really weird, really just surreal. You're like, what? You're like, what?
You're like literally
Why
watching
are they
someone
watching this?
beat
Why?
the shit out, like,
And then you hear one of the characters, the one who taught Cash the white voice, and he's just like, yeah, no, I just absolutely love to see other people down because that makes me feel better and more fulfilled in my life. And I think that that's a big, like, I mean, it was a small line and it was a small part of the movie, but that's something big to say just about society in itself. We like to see other people being put down. Maybe we don't watch people getting the shit beat out of them on television, but at the same time, we kind of do. The Wipeout's a thing, right? Like,
yeah, well, not only that, but like World Star is a thing. Hello, like, that's not a channel, but it's a YouTube channel. Like,
unfortunately, we like to see people lose. We and I think that's something. It says something about us as people. The fact that, you know, it's just, we know it's fucked up, but we don't care. It's something that we like, and
this is just in the first couple minutes of the movie.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
this is right at the beginning.
It already starts with like this satire on society where it's like, yeah, you know, this is our favorite show, and it's dumb, like, it's surreal. And it's funny because we currently, like, our society from now, you know, we're looking at it and we're like, oh, this is so fucking stupid, and we're laughing at it, but it's just a very exaggerated version of World Star. Like, if you think about it, right? Like, I'm just thinking about this right now. World Star is a bunch of people beating each other up on film. That's it. On, like, not like film, but like on a camera phone. You know, that's all it is. It's just people beating the shit out of each other and being like, World Star. And like, the only difference between World Star and that show that they have in the movie is that in the show, in the movie, the person isn't defending themselves. They're just getting the shit beat out of them, and that's it.
I guess they're getting paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane to watch that. And like, I also thought it was really interesting. You mentioned that he asked Tessa Thompson, his girlfriend, about whether or not, like how she feels about this kind of worry-free thing. And you see from the beginning that Cash is stressed out. Cash doesn't know where his next paycheck's coming from. He doesn't know
4 months behind
where
rent.
he's gonna live. He's 4 months behind in rent. He knows that his uncle might get evicted. He wants to help, but he can't do anything because he can't even get a job. So it's super interesting because we find out later, Tessa Thompson's character, I mean, it's kind of weird because she's like spinning signs, but she also does art and sells it to rich people. But it does seem like she is kind of doing okay for herself. She's not as worried. She's not as stressed. She has found kind of a purpose, and she just kind of likes what she does. Like, at one point they're like they're talking about promotions, and they're like, yeah, you could always get like a bigger sign in a better corner or whatever, because she spins signs. And she was like, no, I got the best sign, and I'm on the best corner. Like, I'm good.
Right.
And she's constantly this character where she's fine where she is, and that's why she never even considered this worry-free program. And I thought I don't know. I thought it was really interesting.
No,
She's bored by people who are doing fine.
Right.
As a person, she doesn't care about them. She'd rather kind of talk about the people who aren't doing well, and she kind of implies that that's the reason she's dating Cash in the first place, which I think is a little fucked up. Not to mention, it does seem that, like, I don't know, I feel like she kind of, in a way, because she's so hypocritical, which I guess comes later, embodies this whole idea of, like, kind of just people who are doing fine for themselves and are trying to fight for others, kind of hypocritically in society right now. I think that there's a lot of people who just think, you know, they mean well, but at the same time it just comes off as, hey, I'm doing fine and I can help you, and it's like, what's it called? the white man's burden from like, you know, history when America went to the Philippines and kind of just like tried to help everyone and tried to make them like them.
And to no avail, because that's not really what you're supposed to do.
But I don't think
that was the point.
purpose. It was just something more to like shadow their real intentions, which was just to gain more like power.
Yeah.
And presence in those areas.
Yeah, for her it's different. Obviously she's not that bad, but I just thought it was really interesting that she's a person who's doing well, she's okay, and she just decides, hey, I'm gonna work for this telemarketing company so that and then I'm gonna go on strike with them, and then I'm just gonna quit because whatever, and then I'm gonna do this political art where I sell Africa to people.
And that's a thing though. Here's the thing, and I want to touch upon this a bit. It's interesting because like because there's, you know, she's actually quite a likable character. She's radical, she's different, she's inspiring, she's an artist, and she's very passionate about her art, which is great. And I personally like am someone where, like, when I was looking at her character, I related a little bit in that sense. But you quickly see that like sometimes there's hypocrisy, because, you know, she talks about how she's gotta, you know, you gotta step up to like the real people, and she's like, fuck the system, and when she works for the telemarketing company, she's like, fuck them, and she supports the riots and the strikes and all this shit. But at the same time, you know, when Cash starts actually, you know, when he moves up in the rank and he becomes, what is it, a power caller?
Yeah.
She benefits from living with him, from living in his higher state, from being, you know, driving the car. Obviously, at this point, if she was ever in a financial disability, now she's completely fine. She benefits from the whole thing, but then she's also extremely uncomfortable and turned off by the fact that the way that Cash has brought this money upon himself and all this other shit that they have around them is because he's, you know, working with the wrong people. So she's laying in his bed and complaining, but at the same time she's like, all right, this is the last time I'm doing it. And of course she does leave. We see her leave. That's fine. But
she comes back 2 days later.
Right. That's the thing. And like, my other big issue, which we spoke about before recording, is the hypocrisy of her being uncomfortable by his white voice, which, you know, I would be too. I think the whole concept of the white voice, it's comedic, but it's scary in concept. And like, it's funny that she's so uncomfortable by his white voice, and yet we see later on in the film that when she's trying to sell this her artwork to all these famous rich people, not famous, but like all these rich people, she embodies this English like white voice to sell all this stuff,
voiced by Lily James.
Right. Yeah, shout out to Lily James. And it's like, okay, like, you know, we're kind of in the same pool here now, you know? And of course the movie doesn't address it, because I think the point is to kind of overlay the hypocrisy and just let you think about it. But I think it's so interesting because every character in this movie has a flaw. There's a moral issue, but, you know, they kind of go against it at the same time. Anyways, I don't want to get too much on a tangent here, but let's continue the conversation. Right? So the world is fantastic, full of satire. The background you mentioned, now that we can talk about it, the whole background concept I think was crazy. It was really cool.
So to be clear about that, in case some of you didn't notice, which it's hard not to notice, the director liked to put a lot of things in the background that were louder than the foreground. So you would notice it, you would see it. There were kind of like there was a gang kind of just chilling behind the nightclub that was just making noise and like riding their bikes and like kind of messing with a car. And I mean, that was just one of the scenes. The first time he starts calling, there's just papers flying everywhere for no reason in the office.
Yeah.
That was weird. There's just a lot of things that you notice in the background. One thing that I thought was really Edgar Wrighty of the director was that when Cash gets promoted, he ends up picking up Tessa Thompson, and when he in his new car, and as he drives away, there's this sign kind of that's illuminated and it says payday. Like, I mean, just small details like that are littered throughout this movie, and I can't remember all of them, and I won't remember all of them, and I'm gonna see it again, and I won't catch all of them, you know.
Well, the one that I do want to point out, which I caught eye every time, which I'm sure you did too, which is throughout the entire film, is a photo of his dad. I believe it's his dad.
Yeah, I think it's
where
his dad. It's changing.
Yeah, it's always changing throughout. Like each time something happens in Cash's life, his dad in the photo embodies a different emotion as a reaction to that's what's happening in Cash's life. Cash's actions, basically.
Cash looks at it and like makes faces. It's kind of funny.
Yeah,
It's like he notices.
oh no, he knows 100%. And that's the surrealism of this film is fantastic. I mean, from each call, he's kind of literally falling into the living room or the space in which the other person on the other line is at. And just the fact that Cash even realizes that this is happening. I mean, the constant back and forth between what's real, what's surreal. It's almost interesting to kind of try to figure out what is really real and what's not, because again, there's this dystopian feeling throughout the whole movie where you're like, is this real? Like, is it not real?
Yeah, the whole time I was ready for it to just to be like, yeah, he's on a drug trip. Like,
And honestly, like that would have been a normal cop out for a movie like this, because the concept is so wild that it's like, where could you have gone with this, right? Like, especially the horse shit. Like, once you start talking about the horses,
let's. I want to talk about one more thing before we talk about the horse stuff.
Go ahead.
All right. I just wanted to mention when he becomes a power caller, it kind of deals with, I think, I think it kind of deals with arms dealers kind of just in general. So basically what happens is that the power callers, they don't sell stupid merchandise. They sell slave labor for the most part. Right? They sell slave labor, they sell bombs, they sell weapons. They he pretty much specializes in selling the slaves, but they kind of sell all of this stuff that, you know, you wouldn't be generally okay with.
But I think like the other detail you want like should include is that he's specifically selling labor for worry-free. That's gonna be important.
yeah. Which is actually a major plot point.
Yeah.
So all this kind of slave labor from worry-free, I think that it just had a lot to say about morality in high-paying jobs in general in the world. I think we talked about it recently in general about like how much money the America puts into its military. Like America has the biggest military in the world. It doesn't need a bigger military. But we constantly dump in more and more money into this thing to, I guess, threaten other nations. And again, I don't want to get too political in here. But I just kind of thought it was an interesting. It was something that needed to be called out, where kind of the high rollers in society, they just kind of do things that benefit them and no one else.
Well,
right?
you know, you turn a blind eye to morality, basically.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, Cash was gonna get paid a fuck ton of money, but you know, he wasn't selling stupid movies anymore or bullshit. He was selling slave labor to companies that needed it. That's anything, you know, like you want a bigger check, you got to do the dirty work. And that's a lot of the, you know, you see that in every movie, you see that in every story.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just, yeah, before we get on the weird shit.
Yeah, no, but definitely. I mean, again, this movie pulls no punches. It doesn't hide anything from you. Everything is in your face. And again, I'm skipping forward a little bit, but the scene where Army is showing Cash the video and he's like, oh, I wanted to show you this because I didn't want you to think I was crazy. Like, I didn't want you to think that I was irrational.
Doesn't that go straight back to the Sacha Baron Cohen quote?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Straight back to what was the politician that read that? You know,
I think his name was Senator Pratt or Governor Pratt, something like that.
You know, just this disconnect with reality for these people, for people in the high echelon, for people who just kind of, you know, they have so much that they stop understanding what's normal. And I think that Armie Hammer's performance was phenomenal in this scene. he made this little video. Okay, just for the people like, for some reason are listening and haven't watched. Army Hammer is the director of this.
The head of
Worry Free.
Sorry,
right?
wait, hold on. Before you go on to this, I just want to say, I want to correct myself. Larry Pratt, the person in the Sacha Baron Cohen thing, he's the executive director of the gun rights organization, Gun Owners of America. So, yeah.
All right, yeah. So again, this disconnect that's seen by these people. So yeah, I almost said Chris Pratt. Army Hammer just talks about he makes this video to show his business plan of taking all of his employees, which they technically are employees that he doesn't pay, he just kind of feeds and houses them really shittily, and turning them into horse people. And Cash sees these horse people beforehand, freaks out, obviously, and Army Hammer's just like, no, you would understand if you just saw this video. Like, it'll all make sense. It's okay. I'm not crazy. Like,
which is bizarre because the whole fucking concept is nuts, but he's just so high up. He's just thinking so, like, in just another universe that the laws of ethics and morals and humanity are no longer a fucking part of his existence, his brain. It's just more so like, here's this, which the video, come on, let's talk about it for a second. The fucking video, what is it, claymation? It was stop motion claymation.
Straight up just like Wallace and Gromit shit.
It's
like
the weirdest shit.
And they're all naked?
Yeah.
For no reason? Oh, it's so weird.
And it's so bizarre. I mean, I don't know. And this just is just like a whole, and again, I guess this is the point where we talk about it, right? But the fact that he offers him this position, right, where he offers him the position to be the MLK leader of
the horse revolution.
What are they called? I don't know. It's like equestrian and say equisapien.
Yeah, equisapiens.
Equisapiens. Like he wants Cash to be the MLK of the equisapiens and be their spokesperson. For I think it's $100 million.
So that they could control the horse people from
within,
inside.
Right?
Yeah. So like give the illusion of freedom, but not actually have any.
Right. And it's bizarre because in a movie that talks so much about race, society, politics, like, of course Cash is like, nah, you're fucking nuts. He goes out, he's like, fuck this, and then he blasts Army Hammer and Worry Free on all these medias, and the stock goes up. And it's like, and we were just talking about this too, but like, that was probably one of the most real scenes in the whole fucking movie.
Yeah, like, and one thing I wanted to mention, they were talking about, what can we do about this? There's nothing we can do. Like, why are people acting so normally? This crazy thing is happening. Like, what can we do about it? And they respond. Who's he talking to?
He was talking to his friend.
Yeah, and he just responds, yeah, no, like all this crazy shit's happening. It's all weird, but there's nothing we can do. So people just accept it and turn a blind eye. And I think that was one of the most relevant things that was said just in the entire movie, because just because of what the United States has been in the last 2 years, right? Absolutely insane. Just every day is a new news story of something crazy that's going on that, you know, would make headlines years ago, right? It would cause kind of just people to go crazy, and now it's just so normalized. They're like, well, there's nothing we can do about it. We've tried impeaching him. We've tried we've tried saying that he's breaking the law. We've tried protests. Nothing works. Like, we're stuck in this. We're just gonna deal with it.
Yeah, no one gives a fuck.
And that's what happens in this movie, and it's just kind of like everyone's like, okay, horse people.
And next story, basically.
Yeah.
Not only that, but the fucking stock goes up, like, you know, like...
they start calling him a genius for coming up with this formula to turn people into horse people?
Right, no, it's bizarre. And honestly, I like this because the movie kind of leaves you with this, because I don't want to run too overtime right here, but like, I feel like the movie kind of like leaves you with the sentiment where you're like, man, like, okay, fine, this revolution is starting, But Cash is back in his humble home. He's got a couple upgrades, which are great. He's good friends with his friend again. He's back with his girlfriend. Things are gonna happen.
His
We're fine with
dad's happy in the picture.
Right, his dad's happy in the picture. His family has a house. All good. And then the credits roll just once, just for like a couple seconds, and you're like, great, movie's over. But no, fuck it.
No, I heard they do a horse before that.
Oh, you're right. Never mind. Yeah, everything's good. He turns into a fucking horse. Roll the credits, and you're like, okay, bizarre, crazy ending. But they give you more. They're like, no, hold up. Cash is gonna go to fucking Armie Hammer's house to murder him. Well, we don't see it. We don't know what happens. We already thought of some conspiracy theories for the ending. Was Cash actually still gonna get paid for basically still?
Did he actually accept the offer? Right.
Right. We don't know. We don't know because he was drunk. As we know, he forgot what happened
He was
that
super
night.
high.
Super high off of cocaine. Like he lost his fucking phone. Like there were just a lot of things that were happening. We don't know if he actually drunkenly accepted the offer. And he could be a fucking horse person, but he's 100 million up. We don't know that.
Or maybe the thing is, he could have accepted it later on.
Yeah.
He could have just called him later on, because it does seem to me that he didn't accept it before, but he might have just seen how futile everything is, because he tried so hard, and his company's still doing great, and now he doesn't have a job. His only option is to go back to this telemarketing company and selling nothing and not having a purpose, right? And it could be that because he's a character that feels like he needs a purpose, right? So it very much could be that kind of opportunity to be the MLK of the horse people sold him. Like he just wanted to do it. Or, the cocaine that he did was actually the activator.
Right. A lot of things, a lot of conspiracies. We could talk about it for days, but the reality is that it's up to interpretation. And I feel like the movie just came out, so there's still conversations being had, ideas being thrown out. But definitely I'd want to keep up on what people think of next. I mean, again, there were so many damn things in this movie that we could have missed a very obvious clue or a subtle clue that might have defined his action at the end. We don't know.
I'm sure we missed a lot.
Yeah.
Honestly. There's just a lot to miss in this movie. There's so many details. There's so many small things. Amazing movie. I have to say, talking about it, just thinking it through, I'm going to watch it again. If you got through this and now you've been spoiled, go watch
the
it.
goddamn
Who
movie.
cares? Just, there's horse people. Just go watch it. It's weird.
You got to see it to believe it, honestly. Okay, with that being said, I think that's enough to be spoken about. I think people should sit down, reflect, think about what they want. But, and if you haven't seen it, why the fuck are you listening to us right now? Just go watch the movie. Anyways, transition right now. I want to play Head in the Clouds by 88Rising and Joji. Joji's the only person featuring on the song. Beautiful song. I think it encapsulates the summer vibe that 88Rising was kind of going with the album. I think it's beautiful. I'm so proud of Joji. I've been following him since before Filthy Frank was even a meme. And I love it, and I'm looking forward to his project at the end of the summer. So without further ado, this is the song of the week.
Out of reach, out of time. Maybe I'm too high. Out of mind, out of light. Almost lost my sight. I don't know why I do this. I feel like I might lose you. Out of drugs, out of luck. So let's compromise. The floor is raising, the sky is falling. The tides are turning, my eyes are burning. Head in the clouds, and I'm not coming down. I used to swim, now I'm ready to sink. I wanna give you what I cannot do. demise. The floor is raising, the sky is falling. The tides are turning, my eyes are burning. Head in the clouds, and I'm not coming down. I used to swim, I'm ready to sink. I wanna give you what I cannot do.
Okay, and we're back from the song of the week. My thoughts, obviously, I love it. I love Joji. I love all his work. I don't want to delve too much into it. I highly encourage people to listen to Head in the Clouds. 88Rising is one of those labels that has really come up lately. I support all of them, between Higher Brothers and Keith Ape and Joji, Rich Brian, even August 08, or August 8th, however you want to pronounce it. But truly, I haven't finished listening to the album, but very, very great label with great content. And I love Joji. I love what he's been doing. And this is just the highlighted song I wanted to talk about. Juan, did you have any comments at all? Or
I really don't.
Okay.
I haven't listened to this song enough to really comment on it, and I don't want to say anything without really having an opinion. So.
Yeah. Well, I love the song, and I highly suggest y'all should check it out. If you haven't, if you don't know about 88Rising, then definitely check out their music. I think they're an underrated label right now, but they're doing fantastic. Anyways, mini topic. We're gonna cut this. We're gonna make it as short as possible. We got maybe 5-10 minutes max to talk about it. But Chance the Rapper dropped 4 songs on us. A bit of a surprise, and I'm very content with it. Juan, please start us off here.
So, Chance the Rapper dropped 4 new songs, each with kind of interesting modern art album covers. Really, really interesting covers. I don't really know what any of them are, except the one for...
the Arthur meme.
The
Arthur
one for I Might Need Security is just the Arthur meme. If anyone hasn't noticed, hot scoop, it's the Arthur meme. Just look at it. It's
very
the fist.
abstractly.
It's very clearly the Arthur meme. When Chance came to my school a few years ago to perform, he actually sang the Arthur theme.
Really? I didn't know that.
That was really weird. He kind of rapped it too. It was really interesting. He was like, you all know the lyrics to this. You watched it when you were a kid, and he didn't tell us what it was. And then he's like, when you're walking down the street, everybody that you meet, I'm not gonna get copyrighted. It was crazy. I was just like, what? So seeing the Arthur meme kind of brings it full circle is kind of great.
And that being said, it is, in my opinion, the banger of the 4.
I Need Security is fantastic.
Yeah, I Might Need Security it's got that sample, it's got that rap, it's got that channel, it's got everything.
Oh yeah, it's great. We were listening to earlier Chance today. It's very different from Chance is straight away from his acid rap days, but you could think of it as just a development, as a development as an artist. You look at Kanye and you listen to
College
you listen
Dropout.
to Ye and you compare it to College Dropout. They're very, very different.
Yeah, of
and
course.
Ye evolves with every album, so that's interesting, but that's a topic for another day. I thought that Chance's new songs are some of his best, all 4 of them. I loved all 4. I Might Need Security is probably my favorite just because it's kind of a banger, and I kind of like to turn it on as a response to people now. Like if they piss me off or anything, I'm just like, yo, here's my response, and then I play, fuck you over and over.
Great sample, by the way.
Great sample, Jamie Foxx, but sounds like someone doing it. I don't know. I can't tell if it's actually Jamie Foxx and they played with his voice, or they had someone sing it and then they played with that. But it's a sample from Jamie Foxx's stand-up special called "I Might Need Security," where this is kind of the punchline to a joke, and it's a fantastic sample, especially considering what he raps about. You know, he's talking about how like he's doing his best and everything he does, you know, the media just keeps trying to find problems with it, right? He donated millions of dollars to a school. Now the media talks about how he's a deadbeat dad, right? It's kind of his way of venting, and it's kind of great.
And it's his fuck you, quite literally.
Yeah, quite literally is fuck you. Because he says he bought a Chicago newspaper to do it better than them, right?
Yeah.
In the song, so he's just like, yeah, I bought it because I could do your job better than you, which is really funny.
And this kind of again ties into the film we just watched. A lot of media. Again, not spoiling, but talks about the media. Anyways, back to the songs. Yeah.
My second favorite, or actually, I'm for me they're kind of tied. But I really liked
65th
and Inglewood.
Ingleside.
Inglewood. 65th and Angleside is just kind of Chance's come up, pretty much. I'm talking about how different his life is now, and how quickly his life changed, right? And I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting song.
It was the first one I listened to, and I was heavily impressed.
Yeah. It just the beat is great. It hooks you immediately. And it's just a super well produced song. Not to mention Chance's raps are, I mean,
it's definitely the most.
I'm always going to miss acid rap Chance, but they're strong.
Yeah, and something that we kind of spoke about a little bit in regards to that whole acid rap thing is just the fact that like we don't really know what's gonna come with that whole Chance Gambino album, but I'm really hoping it's that play on play, kind of like just the nitty gritty Chance that we saw in acid rap, and the nitty gritty Gambino we saw him because of the internet and Bonfire, and I don't know.
Camp,
yeah. Bonfire the song, but Camp the album, yeah. I don't know. I really hope, not to say that I don't like Chance now, I do, but yeah, just as any artist develops, of course they're going to change a little bit with each album, with each song, but it was nice to see Chance kind of pop off on I Might Need Security. I thought it was pretty great.
Yeah, and it just kind of seems to me that Chance is going to continue to put out good music. He's coming out with 3 albums.
Yeah, 2 are confirmed. 3. The third one is like halfway confirmed, but we never really know, considering the both of them are pretty flaky on what they say. So
yeah. So we don't know about the Childish Chance collab, but apparently they already have like 4 songs done or something like that.
Yeah.
And more are coming. So it's exciting because there's only 3 songs in existence right now, with 2 of them, and one of them is just kind of Chance doesn't rap in it, right?
Yeah, he like half hooks the song basically.
Yeah, it's the worst guys in Because of the Internet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to see more from the 2.
Me too.
Especially considering they both just dropped kind of at the same time. It comes back to what I was telling you about the potential marketing strategy of Pusha and Drake, right?
Right, like that back and forth where
like them coming out with albums that are, I mean, even just singles at the same time, right? I don't know. They could just be trying to promote each other and promote themselves before they drop this kind of mutual collaboration, but we won't know. We won't know until like the next few months.
We won't know till we see the goddamn album. So
not to mention Gambino's going on tour soon, so I do believe that he's gonna drop any day now. Any day now, we'll just get a full album and we'll just be like, wow, what?
And the craziest part is that he doesn't even need publicity to get that shit to platinum.
Oh no.
So
No. He'll drop it and he's good.
Yeah. Anyways, highly suggest. A lot of good music came out this week. If you have listened to Chance, go listen to Chance. The Internet released. Go listen to that. 88Rising released. Like, come on, there's a lot of good shit. So if you're listening to music during work and you need something to listen to, and you've watched all of our episodes already, listened to all of our episodes already, then you know the albums you got to look at.
Yeah, just leave work and go watch go watch Sorry to Bother You.
Yeah, no, 100%. Definitely leave work. Fuck your boss. Go see the damn movie. Yeah, but I think that's pretty much it. Media for next week, we mentioned it last week, is going to be 8th Grade, directed and written by Bo Burnham, right?
I'm not sure about the directed.
Okay, written definitely. Yeah. Yeah. So Bo Burnham doing what Bo Burnham does best with his original content. Heard it's also a great movie. And yeah, we will be covering that next week, hopefully. So.
Oh, you're right. He directed it too.
Oh, he did. Okay, perfect. Yeah, directed and written.
Screenplay. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely check that out. Please watch 8th Grade for next week, so that way you can keep up with our conversation just like you did this week. I feel like this one was very, very, very deep. Like there's a lot with Sorry to Bother You, and I feel like
it's going to come back. We're probably going to have an Atlanta episode some week that we don't have a lot going on.
Yeah. Well, once we're both done with the season, which should be soon. Honestly, I'm binging this shit. So yeah,
once I'm sure it'll come back when we talk about Atlanta. Lots of parallels. Lots of interesting. We barely touched the surface of Sorry to Bother You. Honestly, I wouldn't even mind having another episode on it. Like
yeah. But I think we'll get to the parallels when we do the Atlanta episode.
Yeah.
So definitely, just this is a huge heads up. But watch Atlanta if you haven't already. Great show. I'm not done with season 1 yet. I'm almost done. I'm gonna go to season 2. We're gonna get that shit done. I really want to talk about it. I feel like it's fantastic. We might trying to get a guest for that episode too. So we'll see how that goes. But nothing out yet. Anyways, media for next week, 8th Grade, Bo Burnham. Go watch that shit. Support your local theater. And additionally, we're thinking, what do we want? Oh, right. The End of the Fucking World, which is a show on Netflix. Very short. The episodes are less than 20 minutes long. There's 8 episodes, I believe. Very short show, but a great show nonetheless. Something that we want to talk about 2 weeks from now. So definitely, if you have Netflix, catch on that, watch it, and keep up with our conversation. So yeah, Juan, anything else?
That's it for me.
All right, perfect. So thanks for listening again. This is week 4. If you have any comments, definitely leave it in the comment section for YouTube. We have an official Instagram right now, at Gobekli Tepe Podcast. Catch all the updates there. Definitely follow us. We're gonna have everything there. Merch is still coming soon. Don't hesitate, it'll be there. And yeah, pretty much like follow us on social media, keep up. Remember, this is on iTunes, Apple iTunes, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, YouTube, all the good shit. So if you don't know where to listen to us, then there are plenty of platforms. If you're listening first time, thank you so much. Please subscribe. And for those that continue to support us, thank you so much. With that being said, we'll catch you next week with 8th Grade and a lot of other hot topics. So peace out.